What we don't know can't hurt us, right? But in the context of historical narratives, the lies, the making up of history, this is restraining our freedom and gaslighting the masses. How do we break free from these chains? The phantom time hypothesis is one of the most intriguing yet controversial ideas, originally proposed by German historian Heribert Illig in the 1990s. This hypothesis suggests that approximately 300 years of history from AD 614 to 911 were fabricated. According to Illig, these years, particularly during the early Middle Ages, they never occurred and were instead added to the historical timeline by the Holy Roman Emperor Otto III, Pope Sylvester II, and possibly even Byzantine Emperor Constantine, and they done this for political and religious purposes. While Illig's theory has been widely dismissed by mainstream historians, this is due to the lack of empirical evidence. Its provocative implications have inspired alternative theories, including those connecting phantom time with global catastrophes, including the global mud flood narrative. Illig's phantom time hypothesis. This is based on several claims. Firstly, he argues that there is a lack of reliable archaeological and written evidence to substantiate the years between 614 and 911 AD. For instance, the construction of the Aachen Cathedral, often attributed to Charlemagne, does not align with Illig's perception of technological development for that time. Secondly, he questions the authenticity of the Gregorian calendar reform introduced in 1582. This reform was meant to correct a discrepancy, and this discrepancy was caused by the Julian calendar's inaccuracies over centuries. However, Illig claims that the 10-day correction aligns more with a fabricated timeline than an actual historical chronology. Illig suggests that these fabricated centuries allowed Otto III to rule in the symbolic year 1000 AD, fulfilling expectations of his time. While fascinating to say the least, this hypothesis has been refuted, and mainstream researchers claim that there is evidence of an uninterrupted historical timeline. In recent years, the phantom time hypothesis has been linked to broader conspiracy theories, such as the idea of a global mud flood and subsequent worldwide reset. Mud flood theory theorists argue that a massive, cataclysmic event buried entire cities in mud, erasing evidence of advanced pre-industrial civilizations. The theory suggests that this devastation may have been caused by a sudden, catastrophic landslip, potentially originating from West Africa or other planetary phenomena, such as shifts in Earth's magnetic field or massive global earthquakes. Researchers point to the architecture of the 19th century cities, particularly the presence of buildings with buried floors or windows at ground level, and they point to this as evidence of a previous advanced civilization that was partially destroyed and buried. Many people argue that the Industrial Revolution was not the beginning of human technological progress, but rather a cover story for the global mobilisation and reconstruction of a world devastated by the mud flood. While mainstream historians attribute such architectural anomalies to changing urban landscapes, excavation techniques, and natural sedimentation, proponents of the mud flood theory remain sceptical. They suggest that the official narrative of history may be carefully constructed framework designed to obscure the truth about human civilization's true timeline and capabilities. The Industrial Revolution, it spanned from the late 18th to the early 19th century. This period is considered one of the most transformative periods in human history. It brought about unprecedented advancements in science, technology, and industry, fundamentally reshaping society. Mudflood theorists, however, suggest that these advancements were less of an organic progression and more of a rediscovery of lost technologies from the buried civilization. The sudden proliferation of steam engines, railroads, and grand architectural projects aligns suspiciously well with the need to rebuild a post-catastrophe world. And some people also point to the lack of clear documentation for the transition into industrialisation as evidence of a concealed global reset. One potential source for the alleged mudflood disaster is a theorised landslip in West Africa. This idea stems from observations of large-scale erosion patterns and myths of ancient cataclysms in this region. Researchers suggest that such a landslip could have triggered tsunamis, atmospheric disruptions, widespread flooding, sediment into the atmosphere, and this created a cascade of devastation all across the entire globe. While no scientific investigation has substantiated this specific scenario, the idea of catastrophic events influencing historical development is not new. Geological phenomena, such as the Younger Dryas impact hypothesis or volcanic eruptions like Tambora in 1815, have demonstrated the profound impact such events can have on human societies. The phantom time hypothesis and the mudflood theory, while captivating, remain speculative and lack support. Mainstream historians and scientists have pointed out significant flaws in these theories, ranging from misunderstandings of archaeology and geology to the misinterpretation of historical records. But these ideas, they reflect a broader curiosity about gaps in the historical narrative and the human tendency to question established truths. Ultimately, the allure of these theories lies in their ability to challenge conventional wisdom and inspire new ways of thinking about history. Whether or not 300 years of history were fabricated, or whether a global mudflood resets civilization, these ideas encourage us to remain critical and curious about the past. As we continue to uncover new evidence through advancements in archaeology and science and technology, we may find that the truth about our history is both more complex and more fascinating than we currently can imagine. But what do you guys think about this? Comments below. And as always guys, thank you for watching.